Hey, what's up YouTube? This is going to be a video on hanging doors, just some things that I do that I found to be helpful. So right now I'm installing this door into a pantry. First thing I like to do is take your level, and what you want to do is give yourself a control line. This instance, either you can do this method or always make sure your floor is level, like if you're on the subfloor, rough floor. Right now I'm going over carpet, so I can't lay a level in there. Full line, and the line can be wherever it's at. Doesn't really matter, it just needs to be perfectly level. So I like to usually do it, at a spot that's easiest for me where I can get down and see the level. So I already marked my control line on the edges. I made sure it was level. So there's my control line. I transfer my marks to the inside of the jamb. And then each side, you measure off the subfloor up. And I have 35 3/8 on the left. And on my right side, I have 35 7/16. So this opening, a 16th, I'm not going to worry about. But on the door I just installed over there, it was 5/8. So on, like for instance, on this door, there was 5/8 difference. And the smaller the number, the higher the floor. So that means you're gonna have to cut that side down. The smaller the number, the higher the floor. So that side, the jamb, is gonna have to come down, if that makes sense. So once I got my control line laid out, then you want a nice long level to check each jamb for plumb, and then also check for any bows in the wall. Like I got slightly at the bottom there, it kicks way out, and we're plumb there. So just kind of to get a mental note, typically how I do it is I always plumb up the hinge side, and because I want that side as close to that trimmer as possible, so I always plumb the hinge side. In this case, it's going into a pantry, and I don't want to damage the drywall for the inside. I don't want to break that corner bead, so I'm actually going to install the door jamb right to the drywall. And one quick thing, just to clarify, something for like DIYers or beginners. When you're ordering doors or thinking of or buying doors, one way how to designate the handing is to picture standing in the door opening with your back to the hinges, with the door open, and to whatever hand that is when it's open, where your hand would grab the doorknob, that is the handing. So that's a right hand door. So like if this door is open right now, standing with my back to the hinges, it's going to be on the right hand. Interior doors, it doesn't matter if it's an in-swing or out-swing or whatever, that's only for exterior doors. Also, like this door is a 28-inch door or 2.4. Obviously everyone knows door openings are typically 2 inches oversized and 2.5 the RO. So I'll kind of show you the method, and then one other thing to know: when you're taking any measurements, pre-fitting openings, whatever, always take your measurements at the head jamb, because that's going to be the most accurate. So like if I'm trying to, some people will pre-shim this opening and leave like an 1/8, so there's not as much wiggle room. Using plywood shims to make gross adjustments versus doing like a big stack of shims. That's a good way of doing it. I don't need that here, but like if your opening's really large, you can use, different scraps of plywood. Anytime I have extra plywood, I rip it down, rip them, and then cross cut them at 3.5, so you can put those up in the opening, and then make micro adjustments with your shims versus having a huge stack of shims, because as soon as you put a nail through those shims, if it's a huge stack, usually they're gonna blow apart. So if I was gonna use this, I will set it up, plumb it up wherever I need it, and then I will shoot this on with either my 18 gauge, like when if I only need a fine adjustment, I always keep my 18 gauge Milwaukee, and I'll tack shims in if I need to plumb up my hinge side, because that's the first thing I worry about when I'm hanging a door. I always want for me personally is how I do it, I want the hinge side, unless it's in a hallway, but I want the hinge side as close as I can to the trimmer. That's going to be the most solid and secure. So I will plumb up my hinge side. Typically that's where I shim, whether that's top or bottom to get it plumb. I'll tack those shims in with my 18 gauge nailer, and then I'll start from there. So this is already plumb. I don't need to shim it at all. I'll set that in, but just a quick run of tools you'll need. Obviously you'll need a lot of shims, sawzall if you hopefully don't need that, but for demo you will. Impact, I like oscillating saw or a multi-tool, and I'm hanging doors with my air powered 15 gauge boss stitch, 2.5 inch nails, assortment of levels, and you'll probably need a circular saw for cutting your jambs down or cutting your door down. You always set in the bottom first. So once you get it in there, what you'll do is pop your latch, pull it open, and if you want to prop it up, you can set a big stack of shims underneath the door edge, and that'll hold it plumb. So I'll grab a stack of shims. Set it under the door here. That door's set in. What I'm going to do is pressurize that opening at the head jamb. I'll stack some shims right directly across from the head jamb and get it really tight, and that way it'll kind of hold it in place and I can see where I'm at. And plane out with the straight edge from drywall corner to drywall corner. So now I got it set. Now what I'm going to do is pin up right up top, right below the head jamb, above the top hinge on the left side there. I'm going to sink 2 15 gauge nails. Make sure this side planes out. So now we'll check for cross leg, which means when you shut the door that it aligns with the stops. So you can see this, how much hinge sag is in this door. It won't even shut. See how much of a gap that is up here? What I'm going to do is run a screw through this hinge, and that'll suck that jamb in and alleviate all that hinge sag. And for that, you want to use a number 9. Right now I'm using GRKs. Okay, so this is cross leg. Right now I adjust in the door, and what cross leg is I'll just show you. So how it's setting right now, everything's flush. You go to shut your door, and right now, if you can see, it's bound up, and the bottom, you know, is hitting the door stop, right? So that all looks good, except up here, we're hanging out almost a 1/2 inch. So how to correct that is to come to your very bottom hinge, and what you have to do is pull the door out of the wall. And usually it doesn't take much. This door is pretty bad for some reason. So you can see just that little bit has corrected it. So we'll pull it out just a fuzz more. There. So I don't know if that's picking up, but that's perfect. It's all, because you want your door when it closes to hit the door stop all at the same time. You can see our reveal here. is looking pretty good. Have to fine tune that a little bit. And a quick tip, like right now I flush cut the jambs so they're hanging. So what I'll do to kind of hold it in place is I'll run a screw through the door latch, because that's not gonna matter, not be visible. So I'll pull it flush here, zip that screw in, and that way it's kind of secured. Then I can pull that out later after I get my shims in, but it just makes it easier when you're adjusting your reveal. So you can see it shuts nicely now. So what I'm gonna do is back the screw out until I get a 1/4 inch reveal. So that's why that screw is kind of nice, because it'll hold pressure against your shims. So now you kind of work your way along, just ensuring you have an equal reveal between your jamb and your door. And here's kind of a handy quick tip. When you're setting your reveal, I break off a shim just so I got a 1/4 inch, and then that way I can pack my shims out to it's just tight. And then I can hold these while I open the door so they won't fall, and then shoot them in quick. So I got it set where I want it. Get my nailer ready. Pinch on those shims so they're not going to move. Open the door. You just kind of work your way along and take your time. Once again, I get my shims kind of set. Grab the designated for reveal. Just by pressurizing it there, it makes it a lot easier to kind of tell where you're at. So I got a good equal reveal all around. Run a screw in the middle hinge and then cut all my shims off. So now those 2 doors I just hung, I pulled them off. I'm going to stain them. They're knotty pine, so I'm hitting them with the pre-stain wood conditioner. You just brush it on, allow it to absorb, wipe it off, and then apply your stain within a 2-hour window after. It really prevents blotchiness and also increases the uptake of the stain. I'm using the Midwax oil-based, so you know, whether this is an oil-based product, so I'm using oil-based stain. So if you're using a water-based stain, make sure you buy the water-based product. This really makes a big difference in the finish of knotty pine especially. I'll kind of show you the look. These are doors. All the trim did not get the conditioner, but the doors have. And you can kind of see the even uptake. It's turned out really nice. Those are barn doors, that's an interior door. So it doesn't take much time to do. It's a real quick process, and it's like 10 bucks. One of these quarts will do roughly 3 doors. I would say if you're gonna take the time to stain your own doors, invest in the pre-stain conditioner. I also hit your stain and finish, popping off that corner. That's a hard place to get stain and finish to lay. So hit all that, shot back, tap cloth, and now I'm gonna lay this down quick, and then I got one more door to hang while these set up. You could apply this with a rag also. I like to apply it with the grain direction. I'm not sure if it matters. And really make sure you get down in the corners of this panel. And I kind of like to work one section at a time, really get down in these V grooves. And then go back and kind of move around any excess on the surface. But I'll apply that quick and I'll show you the next step. The grain conditioner set up, it says to stain within 2 hours. So I hit it quick with tack cloth, and now I'm gonna spray my stain with my HOMERIGHT sprayer. I love this sprayer because you can leave it set up. And the only thing you gotta do is clean the tip. There'll be a film on it. But I've stained all this trim, the doors, and I haven't cleaned it once yet. I'm gonna spray all my stain and then clean it with mineral spirits and switch to Varathane water-based poly. It sprays that really nice. I should just buy another gun. You just have one finish gun and one water-based, one oil-based. So if you do a lot of finishing or even DIY, I would urge you to definitely make the investment. This is the Finish Max Super. They have one that's a little cheaper I've seen people say that that's just as good. But yeah, this is a real simple gun to run. Get great results with it. It's not expensive, or you know, too expensive. It's like $100 and some. Has an adjustable spray pattern. So like to start off spraying a door like this, I'll turn it at a 45 and it turn down the volume so it's kind of a mist. And I'll come and spray and hit this face, that face, that face, that face. So I'll hit all those corners. Then I'll hit the inside corner, so I'll come out here, spray that raised panel, and then I'll spray, you know, then I'll lay it out. But that just makes sure you get all your edges without applying too much for hitting like corners. Always hit your corners first. But yeah, it doesn't take long to get good spraying. It's pretty simple. Spray these with coat, let them set up, wipe them down. While they're setting up, I have to reframe a door opening in there. So okay, so I'm all set up to spray. I'll kind of show you what kind of results you can get with the HOMERIGHT, kind of my technique. So right there, I basically turn and spray that whole angle. Now I'm gonna come and hit from this direction and hit the bottom of the raised panel.